It's time for Veterans Issues, the show that brings you information about veterans, military, and their family. Now here's your host, Ken Rollins.
Welcome to Veterans Issues. Ken Rollins here. Today we got our guest back that's been on here many times and been missing him for a while, and he's always brings good information about what's going on in Oxford and the surrounding, well, all over the United States. So stay tuned. Police Chief, Oxford Police Chief Bill Partridge, stay right there. Get your pen. Welcome back to Veterans Issues, and we are brought to you by the Kia stores. To thank all those folks down there for Don Hobden and all of them for the 20% discount for veterans on parts and labor. So I failed to tell you that we are brought to you by the Kia. Today I got Bill Partridge back. He's the Chief of Police of Oxford, and we're going to talk about a lot of things that's near and dear to all the people of Oxford and around the community, as well as the United States. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me back.
You settle down. I've just every time I look on Facebook or somewhere, you're up in Washington or somewhere like that, but you're out giving training, and I say giving training because normally you'd see your police department going to receive the training, but you're going out now with this new equipment you got, and you are giving training to different people. It's a three-dimensional thing, what I'm talking about.
It is.
I don't know what it's called, but
Yeah.
I just see y'all doing a lot of that.
Yeah, we some new equipment like the 3D crime scene scanner and so forth.
That's just what it says it is. It gives you a 3D look on a crime scene, and you get more from what it looked like from over there. That's simple.
It actually would put a juror right in the middle of a crime scene so you could see it as the police see it the day that it happened.
Wow. And you got that for your department, and then you were showing it to others, as I remember seeing
Yes.
the whole thing.
Yes.
Leading the way as usual. A lot of stuff, it's hard to turn on television lately without seeing something about police in the news. A lot of it negative, but there's what don't make the news is the stuff that we see, or the good stuff. And the good, you get to see that every day. You know, people don't see what you and your lieutenants and all of them see with the officers you got. I guess you're blessed in the city of Oxford to have not just the numbers of police, but the quality of police. I know a lot of them, and a lot of people in the community here know them, and they've been around in law enforcement, various agencies, and they've made their name as individuals as well as working for your department. What does that mean to you about the negativity? I know, I kind of feel like I know, but I mean, the Black Lives Matter thing, that the police, cops in a blanket, pigs in a blanket, and all that kind of stuff. How does that affect you and your police?
We try not to let it affect us, Ken. Of course, that's in the back of your head every day when you're dealing with the public, but I don't pay too much attention to the Black Lives Matter or any of that other stuff. All that is just a political agenda on the national level, and we try to stay out of that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of offended when somebody says anybody's life matters, unless like you're insinuating that somebody's life don't matter.
Yeah,
I don't know anybody.
Well, everybody's lives matter.
Absolutely.
And that's the way we look at it, and that's the way we'll continue to look at it.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying. You know,
Oh, yeah.
For somebody to have to post the word Black Lives Matter, who said they didn't? You know,
Exactly.
Why would you even think that? And
Exactly.
why would you have to say Blue Lives Matter? The people that was watching the thing, and I'll talk maybe more about it here, the San Bernardino thing. All the guys running into it. You saw all that.
Yeah, you see all the negative aspects of law enforcement over the last 2 years, where you've had different political agendas trying to make different political statements about the negativity of law enforcement. But what people need to realize is the good stuff hardly ever makes the news because it doesn't sell newspapers and it doesn't sell advertising for a news organization. But every day, the regular police officer, 99.9% of them get up, put a badge and a gun on, and go out here and risk their lives and would lose their life to protect anybody in our community. And that's what we have to stay focused on, is protecting the community and try to let all this noise about all this other political stuff, stay on the side and do what we're here to do, and that's protect the community.
You know, I always have this, put myself in a law enforcement officer, whether state trooper or policeman, in this dark 30, and everybody's tinted windows are not tinted to the right darkness. But even just by the illegal, just to walk up beside them in the dark and look at in the window with your hand up on your gun is in your holster, and the perpetrator is sitting there with his in his hand or hers, and all they got to do is hit that button to roll the window down. Who's got the advantage in that situation? And that happens every day.
Sure does.
Across this country.
Sure does.
And when you pull up and somebody's coming out of the car, they open that door. They just open the door. They've got the advantage to turn before you can. You've got to pull the cowboy thing.
That's why we have to teach tactics. That's why we train constantly on tactics, so we can hopefully give that officer a little extra time to be able to reposition and do what needs to be done to handle the situation.
There's a responsibility on people too. When they're stopped, they don't get out of the car unless they're told to. And if they do get out of the car, if you got your cell phone in your right hand, I'd suggest you don't come out of the car with a cell phone in your hand. It's just,
well, like I've said, you see all the negativity on TV about police shootings and so forth. All of that can be remedied with one thing: follow the officer's directions, and it doesn't escalate. As long as you follow the officer's directions, you don't have to worry about it.
Everybody in America has got used to the words active shooter. Tell me about what we're talking about here.
Active shooter event is where armed individual or individuals go into a location and start actively shooting people in that facility, just like we saw in San Bernardino. Over the last 5 years, we have trained constantly on active shooter scenarios, whether it be in schools, businesses, or different venues of that nature. And you've seen it more and more over the last 5 years for sure, and it seems like it's not getting any better. And now that we have Islamic terrorism in the United States with ISIS members who are self-radicalizing themselves here in the country, we're going to see more of it. And as law enforcement, I would urge everybody that's listening to your TV show that if you can legally carry a gun, you need to carry a gun. You need to learn how to use it, you need to be proficient with it, but you need to carry. Because it takes anywhere from 1 to 4 minutes for the police to get on scene, and between 1 and 4 minutes, they lost 14 people in San Bernardino. So, if you had people who were legally carrying in that facility that could have possibly taken 1 or 2 of the suspects out, they could have stopped the killing then. But, I never have agreed with gun-free zones, okay?
Yeah.
Gun-free zones to me is for any mental illness individual to walk in and say, I don't have any resistance here, this is where I'm going.
Right.
And I don't think there should be such thing as a gun-free zone myself.
Yeah.
But, I'm a big Second Amendment person, so.
I know that, and it's like the guns. I've got a gun that's in my glove compartment. I got a permit. I've never had to use it, but it's like insurance.
That's right.
That gun, you don't, just because you carried a gun don't mean you got to shoot somebody.
That's right.
That's what the people think about. Oh, I got to, okay, put it, mine needs cleaning. It hasn't been touched enough. But it's never got to, it's out there now as we're doing this show. I bet it's not shooting anybody out there in the parking lot.
It's just like fire extinguishers. You buy a fire extinguisher for your house,
Yeah.
okay, in case you have a fire. Well, you have a gun in your house in case somebody breaks in on you.
Yeah, well, these people are what they call, I learned enough, they talk soft targets, schools and things like that, and churches, like the one over in South Carolina or whatever, that they know that they don't have any resistance in that. So that's in itself is a welcome. Somebody put a sign out that said, my neighbor's unarmed, I'm not.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
I saw that.
Okay, we got to go to a break. Come back. We've got more with Chief Partridge. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. We're talking with Chief Partridge, Oxford Police Chief, and we were talking about weapons and stuff. That brings me to something that people talk about assault weapons and that kind of. And I don't have one, and I don't care. I never have one. I don't have any need for one, but I don't have any problem with somebody else. Again, that's only an assault weapon if it assaults someone, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's no such thing as
That's
an
what I'm
assault
saying.
weapon.
Yeah.
It's a rifle. That's all it is.
People come to me and say, I want to file for Agent Orange. There is no such thing. I have to file for Agent Orange. You can file for problems that are caused by Agent Orange, and just like with the AK-47. Without going into too much details, not too long ago, 3 years ago, we had a fellow that was an illegal alien, illegal immigrant, what do you want to call him, caught for drug dealing here in the Home Depot parking lot. He put in jail, in prison. He was sent back, deported. He came back. He had an AK-47. He shot 2 brothers. He shot his wife and tried to kill his baby. Is a pursuit of a police officer's pursuit, and ended outside the studio with an officer shot that's never been the same. He had an AK-47. And I don't want to put anything out there not supposed to be. How does somebody get an AK-47? That it's illegal.
He brought it with him back from Mexico.
From Mexico?
Yeah, when he served some jail time on that narcotics charge, INS deported him back to Mexico. He stayed in Mexico for a few months. He obtained a weapon in Mexico and then crossed back over the border and came back to Cleveland County with that weapon.
Bill, what I'm talking about, as we're sitting here in Oxford, Alabama, it's a long way, or from Heflin. If we're sitting in Heflin, it's a long way to the Mexico border. You know, you got an individual that comes from that distance with an AK-47, which is a huge weapon. How in the world does somebody do that? I mean, I'm trying to think how I would do
It's
it.
extremely simple. Yeah, I-20 sitting right here, less than 200 yards from the studio, and you would be amazed at the things that travel up and down that interstate in a 24-hour period.
Probably wouldn't be, but it just amazed me that day that if I was mad and crazy and I went out to find an AK-47 today, I don't know where, you know, I mean, I'd probably go online and buy one or something, but I'm talking about if I didn't have any papers or any identification, just like if I had a load of cocaine, who would I sell it to? Run it in the buy-sell bulletin?
Yeah, well, these individuals know how to do that. So,
Well, undoubtedly he did.
Yeah,
It's just,
he obtained it in Mexico and brought it back here.
So what gun law do we have on the books that would have stopped that?
We don't have any. The ones that we have, if you enforce
Stop
them,
me
are
from-
plenty. Okay, but when you have individuals who can cross our border at will and not be checked, then you're opening yourself up for that type of an event.
Well, would it be too simple to say that gun laws are for the law-abiding citizens who are going to obey the gun laws and go file for them?
Oh, absolutely. A criminal's going to find a gun. Okay,
They don't actually go fill out applications.
a criminal can go find a gun right now for a couple $100 right here in Calhoun County, easily.
Yeah. Well, I would challenge our administration and all the people that talk about all the guns to think about that for a minute. That people like me, when I got my gun, I had to go fill out paperwork, and it didn't just like that. It had to be run through a system to find out if I had it. Now, if I was illegal, that wouldn't even be a stop on my route
Yeah.
before
Well,
I did my damage.
What amazes me is every time we have a shooting event, like an active shooter somewhere in the country, or we have somebody go in and shoot 3 to 4 or more people, you know, an active shooter or a mass shooting is considered 4 people or more. You have somebody go in and do that, and you have politicians who say, we want to create more gun-free zones. Well, these gun-free zones, a criminal doesn't care because he's going to find a weapon, and that's where he's going to go to because that's the least resistance.
And these things are not cheap either.
No, they're
These
not.
people are unemployed, and they got means of doing that, and they say, well, we got to have 10 round clips. It doesn't matter to somebody like that.
No.
That's good. They hope that you don't have but 10 rounds.
Exactly.
Or if I don't have
And they'll
10
have a 30-round
That's
magazine.
right. They have 20 more shots than I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, that's this. Do you know of, or would you? And this is just a guess on your part. Do you know of any law enforcement people anywhere in the United States that have given you the indication that they are more reluctant to fire now?
Well, that's obvious. Yeah, that's obvious.
Y'all, it's not something y'all sit around and talk about over coffee.
No, but that's obvious. I mean, you think
your
about
life.
what the FBI director said, and he said it bluntly, and he said the truth. You know, he's interviewed many local law enforcement officers who work the streets every day, and when you think about it, you think about a 20-year veteran who works the street, has a family with children, who depends on that paycheck every 2 weeks, and he sees some savory individuals in an alley, and he knows that just because if I get out and I get into a confrontation and have to shoot one of those individuals, my name and picture is going to be plastered over every news media outlet in the country, and I'm going to get crucified by the press because I had to take somebody's life who was trying to take mine or another innocent individual. Why do you want to put yourself in that position? And that's what these officers are facing every day.
I saw that. This we're going to have to run this because I want to get everything in there. We're in the Christmas shopping time of the year. People putting packages in the car. People can see them. We're talking about parties. People have parties this time of the year, and people who don't drink throughout the year will take a drink of champagne or wine or whatever, and then they'll get another shot. Next thing you know, they get behind the wheel. And especially if you're not used to it and you've got an empty stomach, there's just lots of things to be taken into consideration when you're at a party.
That's right.
Designated driver. Would that be
That's
the
right.
best?
Absolutely. If you're going to drink, have a designated driver.
Yeah.
Don't take that chance of hurting yourself or killing an innocent individual.
Yeah, it's a bad time of the year for that. And it also, you know, you put all that together, then you got the fireworks, and sometimes you got fireworks and alcohol. you know all about those things. But the thing about one time you came on here and said, don't put boxes out on the street if you bought a new 32-inch television. I had just bought a 32-inch television, and while we were sitting here, my box was on the street. I couldn't get home fast enough.
If you buy electronics or you buy large gifts, don't put those boxes out by the street, by your dumpster, so everybody who drives by your house knows that now you have a new 60-inch plasma TV or an LED TV or a new radio system or whatever you buy. Don't leave it out there for them to see it. Cut it up, put it in a bag, and put it in the trash.
Made their job a little easier, didn't you, Bus? Okay, inside that house, yeah. And I did. I couldn't get out of here. I probably broke some speed limits getting home to get that box off of the street, and I crushed it. And I had to get it off of there. The things about shoppers out there, put it in your trunk. Would that be the...
Absolutely. Don't leave anything inside your vehicle, such as a purse, a wallet, iPad, phone, or anything electronic, anything that would be of value. Don't leave it so when somebody walks by your car, they can look in it and see it. It tempts them to bust the window and take it out. Put that stuff in your trunk. Don't leave things out visible. Make sure you don't leave your gun in the vehicle at home at night and leave the car unlocked. Take it in with you. It doesn't do you any good if it's in the driveway. It needs to be in your house with you. Just little steps like that. Lock it, hide it, keep it.
Well, you know, we're down to a minute. I've never read in the paper where a young police officer built that big home up on the hill and got a yacht floating out in the ocean and all that kind of thing, the big money bucks and stuff like that. And I don't know many people that are the wealthy on Forbes 400 or 100, whatever. Law enforcement officers don't make a whole lot of money. A lot of them work extra time in the malls and things like that. So when you see somebody out there working that, think about why they're there.
Yeah.
They've already put in a shift, and then they're putting in another shift.
Or working their off days.
Thank you. And that's what I want people to think about. Just don't say, look at that nice officer down here at this store or whatever. I won't mention them. But they're in there, they're trying to earn extra money to buy that Christmas present just to get the level playing field with the other people. Yeah.
I had an individual one time, I was working an off-duty job at Walmart, and he walked up to me and he made a little snide comment and said, "Sure must be nice just to stand here and make money and do nothing." Well, it didn't sit well with me, so I stood there for a minute and I finally walked over to him. I said, "Buddy, I'm not standing here doing nothing. I'm standing here doing what might happen." I said, "Because if a man runs through that door with a gun, you're going to exit the building and I'm going to go toward him." Well, he walked off and came back in a few minutes later and apologized for his comment. But these police officers are out here risking their lives to keep our community safe.
Thank them for me.
Appreciate
I appreciate them. I live in your city, and I appreciate everyone. We got to go to a break, come back. I got news that you can use. Stay where you at. Be right back. Welcome back to Veterans Issues. I appreciate Chief Partridge coming in and updating us. I wish we had about 2 more hours. We could talk about a lot of things. It's just use your common sense out there. We could have put all that in a package just to use common sense. Like looking in your car. If I can walk by your car and see all that stuff, I'm a good guy. But if I'm the bad guy, I can still see what you've left laying. I see this all the time, what he was talking about. Because, I mean, iPhones, iPads, all kind of deals in there. The new parking deck over at Birmingham at the VA hospital. Get your pen ready and we'll write this address down for you. For all of you veterans out there that go to the VA hospital, starting like in January 1st, it'll be 2415, 2415 7th Avenue South. 2415 7th Avenue South. The new women's clinic is going to be there also. They're not going to have the ribbon cutting for that till January the 19th. But January the 1st, you'll have the new parking area, and that's that address, 2415 7th Avenue South. That's the first time you heard that address. And that's our parking. That's for the veterans. They're not going to be sharing it with UAB or Children's or anybody else. That's ours. They're not going to be in that old city parking lot where it's at right now on 28 or 4, wherever it is. I can't even know the number right now. But anyhow, and I want to remind you of something that happened here at McClellan this weekend. On the 12th, December the 12th at 11 a.m., they're going to have the wreaths across McClellan. That's like wreaths across America. They're going to lay wreaths at the graves out there, and they need your help. If you'd like to be a part of laying the wreath, just follow the signs that are going on to McClellan. It'll point you to a wreath across McClellan. You won't have a problem finding that, but that's December the 12th at 11 a.m. Each week I tell you about 22 veterans. That number 22, I want it to stick in your head, because that's how many, when you went to sleep last night, 22 veterans took their own lives. When you go to sleep on your pillow tonight, 22 more will take their life. 22 every day, 7 days a week. That's what we're losing on average, is 22 veterans a day. That's 22 too many. A lot of it have to do with economics, a lot of it have to do with war wounds, and I'm not talking about the visible wounds all the time, but there's a lot of wounds that are not visible. But there's a lot of things that you can do. As one is, you can study up on it and learn about post-traumatic stress, how you do it, if you got a friend that's got it, what to do, what not to do. Those kind of things can help you live with it. We got lots of them here in the area, folks, because this is where a lot of them shipped out from Fort McClellan. So just remember that in your prayers. The Kia stores down here that sponsors the show on South Quintard and over in Gadsden are giving 20% off and for parts and labor for veterans, military, law enforcement, and firefighters, all first responders. And the owner of the store, Don, is a special forces guy, so he knows what it's like to be away from home on Christmas and all those things. But he has got a lot of respect for our people who are the first responders as well as the military. So if you're thinking of it, you need something like that, why not go with somebody that appreciates our service? This is, there's families in need, and I'm not going to go into detail because it'll violate their privacy, but there's a lady here that needs help in finding a location, a place to live. We can go down to Salvation Army somewhere like that, but she would like her and her daughter to find a place to live, and if you'll just call me, I'll give you the details on that. My number's on the screen up here somewhere. The real parking over there in Birmingham now is 2128 4th Avenue. I'm running out of time, and I'm going to have to go, and maybe I'll see you before Christmas. But anyhow, I want this week's salute goes out to all the law enforcement officers. They're going to be working while we're out shopping and having fun this Christmas. You'll see them out working. See you next week here on Veterans Issues. Got to go.